What's up, guys? Welcome back to the One Shot Podcast. This is the host Mohammed Umayr with the Commissioner Haron, and we have special guests with Buraq and Majd from the Baba Amro team. How's it going, guys?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Doing good, man. You're doing good. Finally at this Eid break right now, so we get to finally get some rest on our legs. Trying to get this last stretch done. I know it's been pretty grueling ever since this last push. So I've been trying to rest up and things like that. But how are you guys feeling so far in the season?
You want to talk?
Go ahead.
Man, I mean, I can speak for myself. It's been rough trying to get back in shape, but this guy right here, he probably hates the break.
Yeah, I mean, I think a break is probably well needed for us. I know we had a couple guys out last week, so getting this break, everyone will probably come back strong as we did in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think the break kind of hit everyone at the right spot, right? I mean, it's the last couple of weeks of the season. Everyone's just going to rejuvenate, take the time, spend time with their families, but also outside of that, I mean, a lot of people are getting injured. You just want them to heal up, inshallah, for the last final push. I mean, talking about the final push, obviously you guys are in the middle of the pack. So as one of the younger teams, obviously, just want to ask you guys, what motivated you guys to register, and how do you see yourself competing? And let me put it this way, against more experienced, right? I don't want to say skilled because you guys are definitely skilled, but with skills obviously comes experience, right? You guys are playing against people who've been playing for over 20 years. Some of these guys are have been playing more than you guys have been born, right? So I mean, just putting it out there, I mean, you guys are one of the younger teams, but alhamdulillah, you guys have been doing good so far. But how do you see yourselves competing against these older guys, some of the guys who are skilled, but also on top of that have experience, and kind of seeing how you guys compete right now?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's funny you said that because I'm 26 now.
You're what?
I'm 26.
You're so young.
Yeah, Dino's 25, and we're the oldest guys on our team.
Yes.
And PYP's youngest guy is probably like 32.
Yes.
So it's a big difference. But I mean, I played a little bit when I was younger. I started younger than them. I think I got picked up when I was 16 or 17. And then I played one more time when I was a freshman or a sophomore in college. But I couldn't stand it because I felt like I was always playing with dumb teams, players that didn't really know how to play. And I kind of got sick of it. And I ended up making the shift to coaching. And then as I was coaching these guys, I was like, you know what? Maybe when they're older, we'll all play together because if they stay under me, they're not going to be dumb players. And once this guy graduated, me and him were talking, and I was like, we should all play in the league together. We're old enough, and I think it's time. We get in there. Amar's graduating high school too. I know he wanted to play. His older brother Abdurrahman wanted to play. Zaid wanted to get in there. He still has one more year of high school, but I figured it'd be nice for us, and it'd be good for them too because when you're 18, 19, you think you're just gonna roll through everybody because the older guys aren't playing as much as I am. They're not playing high school ball. He's coming off a regional championship. We all came off a regional appearance. So I thought it'd be a nice little wake-up call for them to realize what it is to play against grown men. And it'd be nice for me to get back in shape and play too.
Good. What about you, Mitch? You and your boys been playing together for how long now?
Yeah, so we our first team all together was in 7th grade. We all went to the same middle school. We kind of split up during high school, but we still played AAU together. And, we all just started college. But competition-wise, with everyone being older, I think, it was definitely humbling to know that there are still older guys that, could still beat us like that. We're not on top of the world or anything, But I think
good thing you said older, not old. So
no, inshallah, you guys are very fit for your guys' age. But I think, we'll continue to grow a lot. And playing with older people, sort of guys our age, I feel like we're going to make that jump even quicker and we'll just be able to adapt faster. So honestly, I enjoy it. I like the everyone, obviously the community involved with it too.
From the start of the season, you guys went, I think, like a 3-0. You guys had a strong start playing those younger teams.
I disagree.
You think why do you think so?
me and him had so many arguments. We were horrible up until the second half of the Beard Gang team because we were running a Euro continuity. So we were running a ball screen offense. And our bigs just were too Yusuf and Iman were out of the system for a year. So that's what we ran in high school without him because he was at Ridgewood. But that's what we ran and they couldn't run it anymore. And so we were getting iced. We were just dealing with a ton of defense and some teams want to go zone. And then me and him just looked at each other against Beard Gang. We were down like 16, and we're like, let's go 4 out like we used to. And once we made that, like, oh, it was night and day. That game, had we started that way against Beard Gang, I think we would have beat them. And then we ran that against PYP, and we were up 17. I remember looking, I'm like, oh, we're playing a lot better than I thought we would. And then Ali proceeds to go for 40, and that's that. What can you do about it, MVP? But I think in the beginning of the season we were horrendous, and then once we got the offense down, it changed everything for us.
So, like, can you explain your offense, like what you just mentioned? You said you said four. Like, to the viewers that don't know,
I'll explain the previous offense. I won't get into this one too much.
Yeah, you can.
I know
that you're running right now.
I know Osman and Farhan are listening, but we ran a year continuity, which is just basically ball screen on the weak side. So we'll run a 2-man ball screen, and then off the strong side, we'll stagger, or we'll just have our big pop out, either go DHO, if first guy cuts through, or he goes DHO with the first guy, and we'll have someone sitting corner. So that wasn't working too well because Amar's actually been out of the system. So I didn't coach Amar his senior year. So he was kind of running something different. I don't know what they were running exactly, but he was having trouble reading weak side help. He was having trouble reading third, fourth defenders. So we figured this would just be so much better for all of us. And then Majd doesn't look for ball screens when he plays. He's kind of like an Oates type player. He can just kind of go. So it just works a lot better for everyone else on the floor to go this way. I mean, me personally, I'm a little older and out of shape at the moment. So I can't really, if I'm taking shots off a ball screen action, it's taken away from Iman or Yusuf in the low post. So now we're getting better touches and things we like.
In terms of when you were playing, I guess, like the tier 1 teams, like what did you guys like notice within your guys' team? Like the thing, like playing against better competition, I would say from tier 4 to tier 1. What's the biggest thing that you've noticed within your team or yourself?
For me, it was that I was wrong and we actually can compete, because I think if we ran that same way against PYP, we would have beat them. Again, I don't know if they had their full team. And we really should have beat Ruckus. We should have. But again, Ali, he was just phenomenal that game. You couldn't do anything about it. In their defense, though, they didn't have a lead or the guy from California. But I can't judge them how they are with their full team if they're not showing up with them. But based off that, we should have. I feel like we could have been undefeated, but those are the growing pains you kind of go through. I think we're more of an in the future team. I do think we're going to kind of run the league for the next 10 years. And it was actually shout out my guy, Tay Montez. He put that in my head and he was like, dude, you guys for the next 10 years. And then Beard Gang said that to me. And I was like, you know what? That's actually pretty accurate, unless some other younger guys like his little brothers come and make another team with some of those guys. I think we're pretty solid for the future. This year, I think it's going to be tough to come out with it. Again, I think we're just a little unexperienced. And PYP is super solid this year. PYP and Ruck.
It's funny you mentioned future. I think you guys are more of a transitioning team, right? Where you're starting off right now. I mean, you guys have that continuity where you guys been together for, you guys mentioned many years, right? So you have that advantage over all these other teams who are, just putting teams together just for the league and the tournament. So you guys definitely had that advantage. I think being in the league for a couple of years will definitely give you guys that experience that you need, right? But I also think this is going to open up doors for all these other younger teams.
Oh, absolutely.
Seeing the success that you guys have as Baba Amro and a bunch of high school and college kids, where a lot of these younger kids are going to say, you know what, man, let's start now. Take the growing pains, take the hits. Well, in the next couple of years, we're going to run this league. Everyone's going to say they're going to run this league for the next 10 years, right? And
the scary part.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is, like Umayr mentioned, playing against tier 4 teams, tier 1 teams, you can't see the differences, right? Just like, for example, tier 4 You've seen guys who are just putting their friends together, rec ball, and they're succeeding, playing Monday night ball or Wednesday night ball, but not realizing that tier one teams are guys who play that, but also train or have college experience, right? Now, being a younger cat, like playing against these older guys, you're obviously playing against some people you probably looked up to, right? So, how does that feel stepping up on the court where, you got people like Ali, Mortez, people, Shafiq, that you kind of play the same positions and now you're actually playing against them. How does that feel?
Yeah, so you always like hear about these guys like, for example, Ali. I'd heard about him before. He's really good. And I feel like you hear older hoopers, done with college, graduated or whatever, and you don't think much of them until
Yeah.
you actually go up against them. And in that game against Ali, I like went into it knowing he was a really good player, but I don't understand to that extent of how good he was. And I mean, honestly, like Buraq said, he had a phenomenal performance. But and I know we talk about our team having been together for a long time, but coming back into this league, it'd been a while since we all played together. So I think once we also start playing together a little bit more, we'll be even better. But I like how you said we're a transitional team, and the future is definitely part of it too.
By the way,
For
I
sure.
was gonna say he's humble. He's not going to say it. Ali probably had the hardest 40 he had to go get. That was hard because
that's probably the funniest comment I heard.
because one, he's so talented, but Majd made his life so he did not get the shots he wanted.
Uh-huh.
He had to bump 3-4 times and then fade. He had to take very tough shots and he hit them. He's a phenomenal player. But I think Majd actually deserves to be in Defensive Player of the Year conversation.
Okay.
I think he's probably the best on-ball defender.
Okay.
Yeah, him and Cliff. Shout out my guy Cliff Paul. He should definitely be in there. He's 2 times ahead of the second place in blocks, and I really think the stats were wrong. He didn't have just 1 block last game.
Funny, I mean, obviously you mentioned Cliff, he's on my team. So
Yeah.
our team is not that good. Let's be honest, right? But at the end of the day, we're literally just telling everyone, listen, run everyone off the 3-point line, just take them
Yeah.
towards Cliff. And Cliff gets these blocks where you're just sitting there, you're like, how do you get that block? Like, he was 4 feet from the player, right?
Yeah.
But he has length, he has height, he has hops, and he has knowledge. He knows when to jump. He knows when to get to his peak and block the balls, right? So every shot that he blocks, it's not just layups, man. He's blocking 3-point attempts, mid-range shots. So you mentioned, defensive MVP. We put a poll out there for obviously MVP. We're definitely gonna put one up for defensive. You mentioned Medj, but the unique thing about defensive MVP is you don't see stats, right? It's not the stats that you see, right? You mentioned Medj that he gave Ali a hard 40, but at the end of the day, he probably didn't have any steals. But it's more of making the game harder for who you're guarding.
Yeah.
That's the unique thing about the defensive MVP award is you can't look at stacks. You can't look at blocks, rebounds, steals, or whatnot. It's how they affect the game on that side of the court, and just seeing how these players play. And the best way to vote that is obviously seeing it in person or the videos. Obviously,
That's the thing. Like, I can only talk about like who we've seen so far. Like, we haven't played Oates, and I can't remember the last time I even played Oates, even though he's my guy. So I can't even speak on his defense really, but I just know from what everyone else says. And sometimes I look at the stats. They played someone last game. I think they. You're welcome. I can't remember who they played, but he held one of their guards to below 20.
yeah.
I think he plays last Shabab, Ali Hadi's team.
Oh, Ali. He held Ali to under 20 or 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised because even Mej had a little bit trouble with Ali to the point where he got 20 at least, Like, he's a solid guy. He knows how to use his body. So, yeah. So from that, you can kind of tell, but I agree with you. It's hard. You got to really watch everyone, and you don't get to play everyone throughout the course of the season either.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, one question I had, I know like growing up, when you said about like how everyone that's young has a mindset of like trying to like compete, like thinking like, oh, these older guys don't know how to play, things like that, or like you kind of like underrate them. I think when we were younger, we were also saying like, I think egos kind of come in the way when you think like you're the best, especially on the same team. And then as you get older, that's why like a lot of older teams are more mature because everyone knows their role and everyone has like a specific spot. Whereas like younger, everyone thinks if you're on the bench, you can think I can drop 20, like I should be on the floor, things like that. Like how are you guys like, I guess, do you guys know, like, is that set up from beforehand? Like, how did you guys, like, kind of get that mindset where it was like, we got to play as a team? Because if you go ask any young guy from AAU, high school, whatnot, they have this attitude where it's like, I can go out there, I shouldn't be on the bench. If you're going to put me on the bench, then I'm going to go make my own team type of mindset.
Yeah.
I think we're working through it, but I'll say this before Magic goes. We almost don't really care about winning. Like obviously we do. Like that's a big part of what we're doing. But for us it's more so like we're never really gonna split up like our guys. Like we're not playing it to like, oh, we want to be in champ. We're doing it to see each other at least once a week and be with each other. Again, like Matt said, I started coaching. I was 19. That's when they were in seventh grade, and they all kind of moved to MCC. So we started the basketball program started, and then I saw they were committed. We started working out every single day. I mean, Med used to come every single summer in the morning, and we would all work out as a team together. And we just we just had that togetherness. And then I would do movie nights for them. I would do this or that. MEC is like a kind of a weird community like that. Like even Umayr, I know your cousin Hamza, or sorry, Hassan, but Hamza Khan, your boy, his older brother, he used to come pick me up every Saturday and take me to the masjid for YM.
Yeah.
So, like, that was, we always had older brother figures in the community, and then I got the opportunity to be that for them. And yeah, like, we just have such a deep bond. We don't always get to see each other. Maybe Yusuf will call me, throughout the year, or Mar will call me, and Mets will call me. But this for us is like we get to stay together and be together. Obviously we get to we want to win too, so we're competitive, but we work through that. But it's never really like, oh, I'm gonna go do my own thing, or you're gonna go do your own thing. It's like, no, we're in this together, and we'll figure it out. If we want to, if that really comes to that, like there are other leagues and tournaments that we might split up for, but this is one of those ones where it's like, it's such a one athletics does such a good job at keeping like family oriented and a family community that we kind of like to adhere to that and just come together for this. So it's really nice in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered those points really well. In terms of, you know, everyone kind of like wanting a little bit of highlight of their spot on the floor, how you're saying how these guys on the bench think that they could just go in and drop 20 or whatever. I think that with us being together so long, we all kind of know how we play together and what our role is. And I mean, I think that goes along with, like the values of all of us being Muslim, being humble and things like that. Like personally, I know that I'm not like the greatest scorer on the floor, but I'll play defense, and I think Amar knows that he excels offensively. And I mean, we all know what we do best, and we accept that those are our roles. And yeah, sometimes it's not as rewarding. I'm not going to be posted for MVP of any game, but at the end of the day, we're a family. We love playing together, and that's what it's really all about. Winning is fun, yeah, but like Buraq said, being able to see each other every weekend, just having that bond that we used to have is, it's special.
I guess this is more of a question for you, Maj. Like, since you call yourself a defensive player, who's the hardest person you've guarded this season, and who's the easiest?
I don't know why you're pointing at yourself over there.
Well, who does it to you every weekend?
Definitely not. But honestly, hardest easily will go to Ali, just because, at some point, offensive players will just get frustrated. And I mean, even like in high school, there used to be games where their best player on the floor would just sit on the half court line and do nothing because it was just frustrating. They didn't want a part of it, but he stuck through it without the game. And I mean, yeah, he had like 30 something, 36, 30. I don't remember exactly, but it was something for sure. Easiest, I have no comment on that. Honestly, I go into every game, no matter what the reputation is, and I'm just gonna play my game.
Again, he's being humble because his senior year, he was the best on-ball defender in the state. I swear, I'm not lying to you. There's a kid, Davey Flowers. He's one of my buddy's little brothers. He was averaging around 20, 25, and he just finished his freshman year JUCO. He was All-American. He averaged around 32, 33. Metch held him to less than 10, I think, both games when he was on him.
Yeah, it was 7.
7, yeah. Me and Yusuf would bet like at the game, be like, oh, over under Metch for 10. And Yusuf would always take the over, but I'd rock with my guy taking the under. Not for money, but, just for the kick.
You played in high school. Where do you play in high school?
Yeah, so I mean, we could start a little bit earlier. MCC obviously is when we started out with Buraq. I
Yeah.
went there for seventh and eighth grade, and so my 4 years I went to Ridgewood, and that's where I kind of learned that defense was my thing with basketball, and especially like, quote unquote accepting your role. Like I was okay. I was never the guy that needed to be like in the spotlight or whatever. I was fine with like the nitty gritty, playing good defense, and honestly, to me, like it's just become something that I have fun with. I like playing defense, and at the end of the day, like hearing that someone like had a hard time scoring against me is like I like hearing that. So
So this might be a
Would you,
question for maybe both of you. Like, you went to Islamic school, then to a public school. What is, because I had a similar situation too. I'm curious to see your thoughts. Like, when you played in Islamic school or in MCC, and you were in middle school and you played there, compared to like a high school with like public school, and you were seeing like everyone and with all the competition. What's like the biggest difference in your mindset?
I mean, he was prepped. He was prepped because what ended up happening for us is our seven when he got to eighth grade. So COVID hit. COVID hit in 2020, which is the eighth grade year. Um, we were the first Islamic school ever in the state of Illinois to win an IESA playoff game, like a state playoff game.
Mm.
And had he not wanted to play football, but that's actually besides the point. Had MCC had a high school at the time, he would have been with us. And because of COVID, MCC was actually they didn't know where they were in terms of like school or whether they'd be able to have school next year, in terms of funding, and that stuff was kind of up in the air. But he went to high school Ridgewood with Coach Miraz. Shout out Coach Miraz. Miraz actually, we found this out like 6 months ago later, where my high school coach, he was a state championship, Bob Williams, and Miraz were actually very close. So me and Medj always had very similar like defensive philosophies, even though we weren't together. And I could never understand why. And then I realized Miraz had that connection to my high school coach. And so we ended up staying bonded that way. But had MCC actually had a high school at the time, because we didn't get a high school until his junior year, or we didn't have a basketball team until his junior year. Sorry. Um, he was actually considering transferring back and playing with us, and I had him. I had him on the ropes, but he wanted to play football ultimately. But everyone else ended up coming back. We had Yusuf who came back. Iman was there all 4 years. Amar came back. Zaid came back. Malik Umar, who played with us last game, came back. Both his little brothers, who I coached, who we actually so we won the first Muslim school to win a playoff game, and then with his little brothers in the eighth grade, we were the first Islamic school to ever win a regional championship. When we lost the IESA sectionals by 2 or 3 points too, so they ended up coming in, and yeah, we had a really solid team. We lost in the regional championship game, unfortunately. 9 times out of 10, I think we win that, but it was a tough loss. But he won a regional at Ridgewood, so he's not really mad about nothing.
yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference, honestly, is the schools that you play in the regular season. I think it's just I don't know how fair of a comparison it is because public schools, the level of or the amount of kids that they have, they're in the thousands, and when you look at MCC, I mean, how many high school kids did you guys have? You guys had what, less
Dude,
than
we
100?
had we had seven, maybe, and I mean this with all love because I love all my guys. We had seven guys, maybe eight, who could play on the floor, and then the drop off from 9 to 12, like they for the varsity team, they just couldn't play, because
Yeah, so
yeah, my year
yeah.
we were playing these guys. We were playing the same tournaments as all the public schools. We were playing all these big teams. We did compete. We're the only Islamic school ever to win 20 plus games. I think IFS is second with maybe 13 or 14. We finished the season with 22 or 23 wins. So we were able to compete with those seven guys, which is phenomenal. But it's so rare, man. I don't know if like when we're going to be able to see that again. Seven guys who could play at any 4A school in the state. We were just super fortunate to have that at an Islamic school.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is having Yusuf Haseb come over from Northridge, I think that was a really big thing. And you guys played or you started soft. What were the twins? The twins were
Freshman,
freshmen or sophomore? They were
brother,
freshmen
yeah.
starting on varsity. I mean, you just don't have a lot of guys that can do that 1 and 2, it's going to be hard for them to compete with kids that have been playing for 4 years. That's like me trying to play my little brothers right now. I just don't think it's fair, obviously, but
Well, I don't know about that.
okay, sure. But I mean, that's the biggest thing. The biggest difference is the amount of kids that go to public school versus private school, and the amount of talent that there is at each one. It's just not fair. But
Yeah.
they held their own. They played in tournaments that we played in too. So we saw MCC. We almost played them in a main East tournament, which would have been nice. But I mean, they competed. They did well. Held their own. Honestly, very impressive.
But it's unique you mentioned that, because I think nowadays you're talking about second, third, fourth generation parents who are taking sports more seriously, right? So you might get these MCC parents who will specifically put them in MCC knowing that it has a good basketball program, right? Or IFS has a good volleyball program, or CPSA has a good program, right? So I think nowadays you're talking about, I mean, Matt just mentioned it, like you had, less than 30 kids in your high school, right? Starting off. But now I think specifically parents are not just looking at academics, man. Like me personally, I'll be looking at sports for my kids to kind of see, is it a legit program where I can see him develop and become a real good player, right?
Yeah.
Academics, and even academics at a Muslim school, you're talking about people who will register their kids or take them to MCC because, listen, it's good academically, but hey, they also have a good basketball team out there. So let's take our 7, 8, 9, 10 good players and put them. So you mentioned earlier that you might not see it, but I think in the next couple of years you might start seeing that trend where parents are going to start taking their kids to these private schools, and some of these Islamic private schools will have a big gap between tier ones all the way down, because you'll see that trend going. I personally believe.
I agree, but the reason I say that is just because the schools are so small, and I kind of know like the administration side of it. They don't have that many spots, and a lot of the spots tend to go to academic kids more so than
Okay.
athletics. But I do think once those two start to come together and our athletes get a little smarter, I think like Medj, by the time Medj has kids and Amar has kids, and hopefully I have some kids around that age too. I
Inshallah.
think inshallah, I think there'll be definitely more talent, because it does take 2-3 generations, and it takes like Medj having kids, like Medj being a phenomenal player, and his dad's never played basketball in his life, or my dad's never played basketball in his life.
Yeah.
Our kids will be a lot better off. And so just like having it's like a father being a doctor. It's so much easier for his son to follow his footsteps than to get it on his own. So
yeah.
it's just
Let me ask you guys, why the name Baba Amro?
that's Yusuf's dad's name.
Really?
That's Yusuf's dad's name. So we were thinking of a name, and we all love him. So like we'll just name it after him.
Okay. Does he know?
I mean,
Yeah, he does.
He does?
He
Okay.
does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So inshallah, we'll be at playoffs. Yeah, he's kind of our mascot. He's always cheering. He's our guy. We love him, man. He's the best.
Nice. Now, Madge, you mentioned that you I guess love the defensive side of the court. What would you rather have, scoring the game-winning basket or stopping the best player from scoring that game-winning basket? What would you take more pride in?
I mean, I feel like this might be a little biased, but obviously the defensive side. I just think
You don't believe in Buraq?
No, man,
Yeah, I
because
mean-
he's cut from the same cloth as me.
all right, you want your step back three for the game winning basket. Woohoo, we get it. But
There's a little more celebration you can do. I guess it depends. I don't know, but I mean, that's your take. I don't got much to say.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's more. Maybe there's not more pressure. I don't know. It's just a bias question. It's whatever you excel in, you're probably gonna have more fun doing, and obviously,
For sure.
yeah.
Cool.
Are you guys
I respect
planning
that.
Are you guys planning on playing in the tournament that's coming up in North Carolina, like flying out there?
End of June?
I don't think I don't know
no,
if
I
you
know
guys have heard of it.
No, I kind of don't have social media. I kind of deleted off my phone just to focus a little more. So I hadn't seen that, but yeah, there's no way I'm flying out with these guys and having to stay in a hotel in the same vicinity as them. I can't stand them for more than an hour on a week.
I will say, when I was younger, when playing these tournaments, that is probably the defining moments of like in terms of like when during that age, because that's what I think all these guys that have been around, they've stuck around because of playing in tournaments, because that's when you kind of like build a brotherhood to the max.
Yeah.
They're like staying over and all that stuff. So I highly encourage Haroon. You can give more details about that tournament that's coming up.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, Buraq knows this. I mean, NMBT has been around for about 15 years, alhamdulillah, right? It's funny. The reason why it started is we were trying to raise funds for MCC to help out with the new backboards and refinishing the floors and whatnot. And then we just started getting teams that actually traveled from Columbus, Milwaukee, Michigan, and whatnot, and started coming to us in Kansas City. So after a couple of years, we're like, you know what, man? Instead of them coming to us, let's start traveling. So in 2010 or 11, we started traveling to different regions. So we started traveling to Houston, Dallas in the south. We went to the east, Jersey and New York. We went to north, Toronto. We went to the west, California. And alhamdulillah, I mean, like Umayr was saying, man, these traveling tournaments, it hits different, right? Because obviously you're joking. I mean, you don't want to spend more than an hour with them, but you're spending 24 hours with them, right? You guys are in the same hotel. You're eating together. You're going to the masjid together. You're going to the tournament together, right? You're not just meeting at the tournament. So it's a different vibe, man. And you always take not just your friends, but you always take your best players, right? So again, you mentioned there's 7 kids that you mentioned at MCC. They're top tier players. You might just travel with those 7. The other 2 might come just to hang out with their friends, but they're not going to play, right? So a lot of these traveling tournaments, you got these teams who are top tier because every single team is bringing their best players to represent their city, right? You guys are representing Chicago if you go to North Carolina or California, whatnot. So obviously, NMBT East will be in North Carolina at the end of June. The Midwest, obviously, is the big one in Chicago. That's in August, which you guys obviously know and you guys been part of for the last couple of years. Alhamdulillah, that one had over 60 teams. We're probably expecting maybe 70 this year with the different divisions that we got. And then in 2026, we're going to travel to California and do the whole circuit thing again. The unique thing that we're doing this time around is we are actually going to be inviting the top 4 teams from each region to a local championship tournament. And you basically playing the best 16 teams in the country, right? It's never been done before where you're inviting the best teams, right? It's something that's unique. Inshallah, it becomes a success with, obviously you guys growing into it. And then a lot of these older teams who are traveling, right? For example, you got PYP who's traveling, 5 Pillars, Ruckus is looking to travel as well. So those are some Chicago teams. You got the Milwaukee guys who are talking about it, Detroit. So it's a unique experience. It's definitely something I recommend for you guys at a younger age, even maybe post-grad to talk about it. But it's definitely something you guys should look into. It's a fun experience. I don't know, Majd, if you guys traveled for AAU or you guys just did local stuff.
We went to Wisconsin a few times, but
Okay.
we usually just stay local.
Yeah. So and I don't know, Buraq, if you've traveled with any teams in the past.
No, because I couldn't coach them
Okay.
in AAU, so I never. Off the top of my head, no. Maybe just for high school or for college. My freshman year, we traveled a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think once we all kind of get back in shape, well, I get back in shape, and these guys, get a little more experience. I think
And money.
And who?
Money.
Yeah, that
So
too.
someone has to pay for it. So
Exactly, and it's not going to be me. So yeah, Med just got off that shift. Maybe he can start putting a little money aside.
Sure. You
Yeah.
got it, bro.
have a tournament fund.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you guys are doing, dude. I think it's really sick. It's awesome. I just seen Ice Cube. He sold his
Big 3.
Big 3. Yeah, and not that we're gonna sell this, but I think it's awesome. Like the more we put into it, the bigger it gets, and I think eventually it can get to a point where it's kind of like the European soccer, where the top 16 teams play in one tier and the bottom 16, and you got to win that to jump up.
Yeah.
Because I think
Well,
there's gonna be so many teams that want to join in the next coming years.
I think so, and that's I think what Farhan tried to do with the whole tier system, right? Where,
Yeah.
for example, like tier 1, you're getting live stream, you're getting the premier court and whatnot. So I think we're trying to give these top teams a experience that you won't get if you're in the lower tiers, right? So we're trying to motivate people to play better, play smarter and whatnot. And like you said, like the Premier Leagues in the Europe and whatnot, where you got teams who just want to be considered top, right? And the only way to get there is you got to beat the best. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering. This is probably a question for you, Buraq. Like, what NBA team would you compare your team to?
Maybe maybe the Thunder or the Pacers, but I don't really like either of them. Or maybe the Celtics a few years ago when they're younger. It's just everyone can play. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Majd was out last week out of town. Yusuf was out. Omar was out. I don't remember who else was out, but I'm able to come in, give us 20 and 6. Iman's able to come in, give us 30 and whatever. Dino comes in and gives us 3 threes in the fourth. Like we can all play similarly to the Celtics. Like it can be Derek White, it can be Drew, it can be Kristaps. Obviously, we have our Jalen and Jason, which is like Amar and Iman. But you can make an argument that Yusuf's our best player. You can make an argument that Majd impacts the game the most. You can make an argument that I'm the best shooter. Like it just goes. It can go in so many different ways, and like yeah, maybe the Celtics. But I think again we got to get a few more years in. If we won this year, that'd be really really cool. I don't think obviously inshallah we do, but I think we need a little more experience come playoffs. We're going to kind of see how real it gets. Iman's going to be out of town for playoffs, so that's a part of it as well. But inshallah, we'll see. We'll see. I did have a question though for maybe Haroon. Haroon could answer this. I want to know I couldn't think of it. Who's like the GOAT CMBL player? Whether it's like GOAT all time, like career, or maybe like a single season. But in your time, like what have you seen? What's
CMBL?
Yeah, or even NBT. I mean, NBT is different because it's
different. Yeah, man. Currently, I'll say Ali right now for the last couple of years.
Okay.
He's been consistent for the last couple of years. Overall, man, Mahmoud was a great player back in the day. Mahmoud Abdel Fattah.
Yeah.
Najah, man, I don't know if you guys seen him in his prime, man. But he was a different player, man. He was the Jokic because let me put it this way. Again, like Medj said, like he doesn't have to score 30 points, right? But Najah could affect the game offensively and defensively. I mean, you're talking about somebody that's over 6, however tall he is, right? And a lot of guys won't attack the middle because of him, right?
Yeah.
He could shoot threes back in the day, right? He could work off the elbow and find that open cutter, right? He was a very smart player, and he has experience playing organized ball too, right? But nowadays, I think the game has transitioned to a lot of guard play. You're talking about Shafiq, who's very shifty. You got Ali who plays guard. You got these shooters, like Asadi from Milwaukee, right? You don't really have a big man dominating the game anymore. It's tough, nowadays. I think it's transitioned to guard play.
Yeah, they're actually from the same bellet.
Who?
Majd and Najin.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's he. I really liked Shafiq. I feel like Shafiq's got a great career. I don't know how old he is. I feel like he's a lot older than I think he is, or he's a lot younger than I think he is. But man,
yeah, I think he's maybe late 20s, early 30s.
31.
He's 30.
Yep.
Okay. So I thought he was maybe like 33, 34.
He's actually, he's playing hurt right now, but like that's
insane because man, the shots he was hitting on us. Because I thought Isam was their best player, and I was like, oh, no way. Like, I love Isam. He's my guy, too.
He's also pissed off because we kind of lost against Ruckus, so he took it all on you guys. So.
Oh, he was hitting – I don't remember who was guarding him. It wasn't you, Medj, but so he was hitting shots.
You can't call him a defensive player if you just say Medj was guarding him.
It wasn't Medj. I don't remember who Medj was guarding, but I think Medj had to switch on to him. That's what it was. Okay. And I had to switch on to Isam. And then that worked out for us, but by then it was a little too late. We just couldn't score. But yeah, he's phenomenal because he won the NBT MVP a few years back too. He beat Ali in them.
Yeah, and even other players that I'm talking about, Ayman, ATM, right? I mean, you're talking about players who don't play anymore.
He was solid.
Who, man, I'm telling you, man, they affect the game on both sides of the court, in the paint, 3-pointer, mid range. These guys are smart players, and the common theme with all of them, man, is they all have organized basketball experience, right?
Yeah.
None of you guys had trainers, right? We're talking about trainers nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
These guys just went to the gym, they worked out, they went to the weight room, they worked out, and these guys just took it seriously, and that's how you can see it. Nowadays, everyone's using trainers, but at the end of the day, you gotta use what you can use, right? So, it's a different era, but I think overall, man, the game has definitely shifted. to be a more skilled game, right? Where back in the day, I think it was more talent.
How was
So
Tariq? I never got to see him, but I heard Tariq was just different.
he was a unique guard. Again, the style, it's hard to explain the style. It's very hard. But again, you're talking about guys who all play together, right? And
Yeah,
you could tell. And I mean, you asked about GOAT players, about GOAT teams, man. You're talking about obviously Ruckus back in the day,
yeah,
Shabab back in the day, Auto Blockdown back in the day. You're talking about National, you're talking about Atlanta Adiats, New York Renaissance. On the West Coast, you had LA Dynasty. So you're talking about teams with players who played multiple years, high school and college, and you could just tell when they step on the court.
yeah.
My goat was Turk. Obviously, like that's just me growing up, watching him play. That was mine. But
Yeah.
from what legacy wise, I've heard, I think majority or everyone that I've talked to in terms of like just pure domination, just like winning the most rings is ATM. Just because Shabab used to come in. I remember Interfaith. All these guys used to tell me they'd be the only Muslim team
Yeah,
against like non-Muslim players that would bring like Division 1, Division 2 players and just
yeah,
wipe them up clean. Like
yeah.
Basil, I don't know if you guys remember
Basil,
Basil
man.
used to
His
play.
younger brother Waleed, man.
Yeah, him, TH. Shafiq used to be on that team. Shafiq actually
Yeah.
won
When
with
he was younger, yeah.
when he was a young guy on a Shabab team that was older. So that they used to run it up. Then PYP and Ruckus started doing their thing, and then now I think it's transitioning to the next. Like I would say for you guys, since you guys are like younger, I think your biggest competition is gonna be DFL. DFL is a bunch of 19 to 22-year-old guys that are like
Yeah.
on the rise. And they're the first seed right now, so they're like I would
Yeah,
say
we haven't
losing
seen them
competition.
because we haven't played them, so I have almost like no idea who they are.
Yeah,
But I liked ATM. ATM is always. I think he was the IFS coach when they won.
I
When they
was
won
with him.
their
Yes, we went to regionals.
yeah. So they
We
were
lost.
really
We lost to Elgin.
yes, they were really solid. He
They
was. I
were.
mean, man, all that training kind of goes out the window when he gets you in the low post and he's backing you down.
Yes,
Yeah, he was a really good player.
definitely, definitely.
I'm just curious. Like, I know we're almost about to like wrap up the pod, but I'm curious like what your guys' vision is for like the seeding game, and then for the playoffs. Like, what are you guys? What message are you guys saying? Like, what things are you guys preparing for the last final stretch?
Yeah. So let me explain the seeding games because a lot of people don't understand what it is. So basically, the reasoning for the seeding games, it's the final game of the year for the regular season. It's basically it should be your most competitive game, right? Um, the thing about that is basically you're playing 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, 5 versus 6, and so on. Um, and and the unique thing about this is when you get to the middle of the pack, you got teams who are going to jump up and down, and some teams are actually going to get pushed out of the playoffs because of who they're playing, right? So, like for example, we're putting 12 teams in the playoffs, so you might have 11 versus 12 or 12 versus 13, and one of them is going to drop just because of head-to-head or point differentials. This is why we have the seeding games at the end of the year. It's your final game, so it doesn't affect your seeding in the playoffs necessarily, but it is going to affect basically if you make the playoffs or not, or your final ranking at the end of the year. So with that being said, what do you guys think about that?
If it's like in terms of like record, I know we're all tied for fourth or something right now,
Okay.
but we're the lowest because of point differential. Because shout out to one of my, I love them, I love all my guys, but we should have probably won that by a little more with our full team, and
Yeah,
because we did it, and the certain teams who had beat you, like lockdown, beat you guys by a little bit, and some
yeah.
others, that kind of hurt us. So we're like +3 or +5 in point differentials right now.
But also, because of the seeding, you might play someone that might have a better point differential. You will get the head-to-head.
Oh, okay. So if yeah, I was thinking if we play someone closer to us, it might be less close of a game with our full team. But yeah, I'm excited to see whoever we play. It's always fun, getting to see how we compete. And Amar's kind of getting his rhythm and his groove. He's kind of hasn't
Good.
been playing well. So I think after this break, he'll kind of figure it out a little, and yeah, it'll be fun.
Agreed. Agreed.
And then obviously playoffs is gonna be one day. It's gonna be a tournament style
Yeah,
playoffs. So well, we have games Friday night, which is basically the bottom 8 teams playing.
yeah,
The top four obviously will get a bye, so that's a huge thing as well. And then we're gonna hit the course again Sunday, 2 days later. So if you played Friday, it's gonna be tough, right? You might play up to 3 games on Sunday, so
Yeah.
um, obviously, Majd, you're used to that with AAU and your basketball tournaments and whatnot. So obviously, this is something you should be looking forward to. Hopefully, with your young legs that you guys have, you should take that advantage as well. So it's definitely looking forward to that. So
Yeah. I'm kind of excited to see if we can get Usity and Ruckus to play for the last game, because that's my two MVP guys right now. It's between them two. Um,
okay,
I want to see how they, because he just dropped 36, I think.
I believe so.
Well, we call him Asadi. I call him Hamoudi. That's my guy, right? Like I really want to see if him and Ali them go at it.
Definitely, it's gonna be fun, man. It's the final push, man. It's the final push.
Yeah. Lockdown's looking good too.
They're getting their groove together. All
Yeah.
the players are showing up. They're taking it seriously now. So
Yeah.
you could definitely see it in their games.
Yeah, absolutely. With Armin leading, I think they're going to be tough.
100%. And then you got the Jarrad brothers too. So
Yeah, I've seen one of them. I don't know who the second one is.
I'd say everyone knows Ahmed, but Yusuf is his younger brother, I believe. Different game, bigger.
Bigger
still
guy with the ponytail.
ponytail. Yep.
Oh, okay. I like him. I like him a
Yes.
lot. I've been watching him.
Yeah, man. I'm talking, man. A lot of these young cats are playing, so it's definitely
Yeah.
fun to see this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who you got
Pushing
for
me out the
MVP?
door. What was that?
Who you got for MVP?
MVP. I hate giving it to back-to-back players, but I think Ali has it. It's very
Yeah.
tight with him and Shafiq, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Forgot about it.
It's. I would never do co-MVP, but if we ever did, it would definitely be those two.
So what's our criteria for MVP? Is it if you take him off the team, that team suffers, or is it just best player in the league?
Me personally is if you take that player, obviously the best player on that team, right? But if you take that player off of that team, they would hurt, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Ruckus would hurt a lot without Ali. You know, I listen, no disrespect to the other guys, Waleed, Bassett, and everyone else on that team, but if you got Ali who's dropping 30 a game and actually your point guard who's getting everyone involved, same thing with Shafiq.
Look,
So-
I love those guys. I mean, Waleed didn't play, but Bassett had 7 points. 4 of them came when I was out the game. I held him to 3. Majid held Noah had 2 points. And Amar gave Noah 27, and I thought we were going to win by 20 until Ali had 40. So that just goes like if you take him off that team. I love Farhan. That's OG. Got so much respect for him. But if you take Ali off Ruckus, they're bottom 4 team. Like
I don't know about bottom 4, but
it's not. They're not a number 1 seed. I don't think they're top 6.
no, definitely.
You know, like I don't see them I don't see them like being able to compete like that. I mean, obviously they have the guy from California, so they're not their full team too, from what I've seen. But just based off that game, I don't know. I mean, Bassett was talking crazy to Hamoudi Asadi. He's like, yeah, we're gonna slap these little kids, this and that, and I was like, oh, I expected him to be a lot better that game. So,
did you show the text to your boys?
Asadi told us we're all together, and he's like, bro, look, and I was like, okay, all right. I was like, I got him then.
Good. It's funny you mentioned it earlier how CMBL is like a family environment, right?
Yeah.
But also it's very competitive, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
And listen, I keep saying this. Friday night is CMBL, right? You got people who come. People who are spending 3-4 hours there, right? Obviously, I'm kicking everyone out at the end of the night and pissing me off. But I lose my wife and my kids are like, why are you always yelling? I was like, listen, we have to go, right? But honestly, I just love seeing it where everyone's just chilling. You got someone wearing a purple jersey, sitting with someone wearing a blue jersey, sitting with someone wearing a green jersey, just because they're all boys, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, on the court you can give it to each other, but off the court, man, everyone's boys. We're creating friendships, alhamdulillah. Like, for example, I don't know if you know SAD before the league and tournaments, but you got people who are friends now because of this stuff. So that's definitely what One Flex is trying to create with everything we do. Obviously, we got CMBL, but we got flag football, we got the youth stuff. So alhamdulillah, man, we're just putting our fingerprints on everything in Chicago and the surrounding areas. So
yeah. No, it's awesome what you guys are doing. May Allah continue to put barakah and
Inshallah.
Any last words before we end the podcast? Any facts, any opinions that you guys have? Any shout outs?
You want to talk next to someone? You could do it now.
See, I don't like doing the smack talking. Like even I love Basa, and he doesn't really talk to your face. He'll do it like behind your back. So I don't really even care for that. But maybe shout out my guy Amar, man. I think if you were starting a team from scratch, like I think Amar is the first guy you take. But yeah, just in case he's hearing this, I love you, Amar. But I do think Ali should win MVP based off the criteria of like what the award is.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah,
Agreed.
next to you, man.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think, I mean, it was just different. Haven't had anything like that in a very long time, maybe ever.
Cool.
So obviously you've played in different tournaments and leagues measures, but obviously with this one being Muslim only, like I'll be honest, there's a lot of people when we say Muslim only, they're like, it's not gonna be competitive. You're gonna get a bunch of scrubs and you're gonna get these Monday, Wednesday night brawlers that think that they know how to play. But now that you've actually participated, obviously, I mean, you kind of see that there are Muslim ballers, right? So, what do you
Yeah,
think of that for
I
sure?
mean, so I think personally, I just graduated high school. I started college, and I've played in like my fair share of men's leagues already. And I have two younger brothers, twins. Like whenever I go to like leave to play in these men's games, always like unk this, unk that. So I mean, there's just like the stereotype that they're not good or whatever. But I mean, this is probably I play in one other Muslim men's league and like one other regular one. And I mean, I think this is the most competitive one, but I mean, honestly, it was just surprising to see that there are a lot of players that can still really hoop and that there are college Muslim players that are really good. There's another kid, his name's, I think it's Jonah, I think.
Jonah, yeah,
I'm not,
they're
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
ballers.
I met him, I actually played with him in one of the men's leagues that I play in right now. And we met that way, but he's like another really good Muslim college hooper that you just like don't hear about and you don't think playing these men's league, but they're honestly very competitive.
Yep.
I
There was
think
a point with Northern,
I
but
I had a Mar fourth right now in terms of the MVP voting, but Ali's got like number one, and the other sleepers I have is Adnan from Evolution.
yeah. I
He's
don't think Amar should be in the MVP, the race, just based off the criteria because he's got such
I
a talented team.
but my criteria is a little different just because like who can show up any to given moment and that he can provide consistency that a lot of people can't. So a lot if you see with a bunch of stars, are you still the one A? Like what are you still the one that people can lean on? And I think Amar has proven that in a lot of the games that he can not only he can go up against even when losing, he can still go up against the best players, but also when winning, he's not just like there's a lot of players that can score 30 but are not efficient. I feel like he's an efficient player and he's starting to become more and more. I think as he's playing, he's a bit more. So
I'll tell you guys a secret. This no one knows this, but because Amar, I've known Amar since the third grade. I know how he thinks. Amar does everything he does on accident. He's that talented. I swear, I'm not kidding you. Everything he does is literally on accident. He's he doesn't know what he's doing. He kind of just goes out there. He's so talented, and it just works out for him. I think once it clicks for him, he's going to be so scary. Had he reclassed or had he like given it a little few more years, I think he could have been a phenomenal Division 1 player. Um, Unfortunately, COVID really hurt him because he had 2 years. Had he come to us freshman year, I think it would have been a lot better. But his junior year, he made such a jump, and he led the state in 3 pointers. He was top three in 3 pointers made, steals, and a few other categories. And then unfortunately, I did leave for his senior year. I had to go take care of some stuff. I'm applying for law schools at the moment, so that was a hard decision. But that kind of hurt his development in his senior year. But man, as he's growing, he's just gonna get so much better and better. Like
is
that
he
kid's.
planning on playing in college?
I mean, at the moment, he's in Charlotte. He wants to attend Medina University, so we'll see if that goes through. If not, I think he does want to focus on school. But if there's opportunity to walk on and learn, I think the only thing is his IQ. If he can get that down, he's a special player. He has the athleticism to be a Division 1 player, his skill set. He can shoot the skin off the ball, right? So, yeah, he's just one of those special guys. But sorry, there's a flyer on here. He's coming by me, but yeah. But I also want to say shout out to your kids and your nephews, man, your nieces, and my boy Ryan. Like they do such a good job at the scorers table and helping out. And even him, like we had the trouble with the ref, and I was like, "Can you go get your uncle, bro?" And he just immediately got up and did it. Like, man, they do such a good job. It really is a family event, man. And I want to make sure they get their flowers for what they're doing.
It's funny you mentioned them because you're talking about kids who are, fifth, sixth, seventh grade. Obviously, a few of them in high school. And
Yeah.
it's gotten to the point, I swear to God, where I'll set up Zen and the Yen at the scores table and I'll walk away and I'll never have to come back because I know they know all the rules. They
Yeah.
know the refs. They know the players. They don't take crap from anyone anymore. Like they used to I swear to God, they used to get intimidated in the beginning.
Yeah.
But now I hear them talking back to the players, telling the refs, listen, tell this player to be quiet. I'm not listening to him. I mean, you got players who think they could yell at them, thinking they got the score wrong. Like, no, I know I got it right. You're wrong, right? So these kids, man, they're growing up, man. They're growing up. So
It makes it more fun for us too. Like for me personally, like I'll go to the scores table and check it in, and Rand's like, "Well, what are you gonna do, bro? You gonna hit a three,
yeah,
dude? Or you talking
yeah,
about the Warriors or something?" Yeah, it makes it more better.
100%. Alhamdulillah.
Yep. So Jazakallah khair, everyone, for coming on the podcast, especially. So I know you guys are busy schedules with Buraq, Majd, and Haron. Inshallah, we'll continue on, and then hopefully after the break, we get the final push and see you guys in playoffs.
Definitely.
And then either Friday or Sunday, hopefully we get to see the Elite Eight, and then hopefully with everything goes smoothly, so we'll see who comes up on top for the championship. So
For sure. Thank you, guys.
Thanks
See you.
for having us.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Sorry.